I'm here with Spokane. Well, I'm here with former Spokane Chiefs forward, Spokane resident, and current Calgary Flame. That is Derek Ryan. Derek, have you enjoyed your off season since coming home from the bubble?
Yeah, it's been nice. It's been really nice to get out of the bubble and be back with the family. The first couple of weeks were pretty awesome. The kids missed me. I missed the kids, missed the wife, and so the reunion there is pretty fun for everybody, for both sides. And yeah, it's nice to be in Spokane now. I haven't been in Spokane during the fall season for, I don't know, 15, 16 years, I guess, since when I played for the Chiefs. So it's cool to be back. I'll get to do a little trick or treating with the kids for the first time in a while, and spend the U.S. Thanksgiving together too. So it's been nice. It's a nice time of year to be with the family, and I get to be a dad a little bit too along the way, which is nice.
What are you dressing up for this year's your Halloween costume?
Ooh, that's a good one. I don't have anything, but my two kids, I have a little girl, she's 4, and she's going to be a Pegasus. So a flying unicorn, I guess. I don't know. And then my oldest, Zane, he's 6, and he's going to be a knight in shining armor. So they're pumped. I think it's all about the candy more than the costumes for them, anyways.
No, that's awesome. I mean, the candy's my favorite part, and I'm old now. So, you know, luckily for you, you got two kids to take with you. It's a little more awkward at 27 walking up to a door and asking for some stuff. But, speaking of Spokane, it's where you're from. It's where you've played. You played junior B with the Braves, and then you moved on to the Spokane Chiefs, where you played 3 years. You broke into the league at 18 years old, which will become a theme in your career. You had 3 very good seasons, and then at 20 years old, you opted to play 3 games with Kalamazoo, who was then in the United Hockey League, before deciding to go to the University of Alberta. So for yourself, coming out of junior hockey, what options did you have, and why did you ultimately decide to go up to the U of A?
Yeah, that's a major crossroads for me and for a lot of players. I think too, you come to that crossroads where, I didn't get drafted in the NHL. I didn't really have any NHL contract opportunities or even playing in the American Hockey League. So basically, at that point, I'm making the decision whether I want to go and play minor pro, in the East Coast Hockey League or something like that, or pursue an education somewhere. And my parents were really good along the way before I even played for the Chiefs. And then afterwards, they really stressed education for me. That was a huge part of my decision to play for the Spokane Chiefs. And the first part was, securing a paid invitation and go to school and all that kind of stuff. That was important for us. So schooling just always was in on the back burner a little bit, and during when I was playing the Western League. But when I came to that crossroads and make that decision, I knew I didn't want to waste that. And so basically made a huge decision. It's really hard at that point in your life, 20 years old, to be able to make that decision. But my dad and I always look back and joke a little bit about that being one of the best decisions I ever made, was go play hockey at the U of A. Just a great camaraderie up there, a great culture, a great program, and definitely never regret that decision. I was able to pursue an education. I got my bachelor's degree up there, and played some top-notch hockey at the same time.
What was that transition like for the school aspect of deciding to go to university? I know you spent your entire life in the States, and this is the first time you're really moving to Canada, coming into our school system and our post-secondary school system. Was that an adjustment for you, or was that something that you'd prepared for and expected?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I definitely prepared for it, and I almost expected it. In terms of, after I graduated from high school, I was kind of on the ball, taking courses at the community college here in Spokane and preparing for it in that regard. But at the same time, as much as you prepare for it, it's a transition. It's hard. Your life in the Western Hockey League, I joke around a little bit, but it's true, is pretty easy. I mean, you're
Yeah.
focused on school, you have high school, and then after high school, maybe you're taking some community college classes. But I think I was only taking one, maybe 2 classes a semester. And other than that, you're just playing hockey. So life's pretty good then. You have a lot of freedom, not a ton of responsibility. And then you transition to university life, which the school you mentioned, that's hard. Usually guys are taking 4 or 5 classes a semester. The workload is extreme, and then you're trying to be your best hockey player at the same time. So you have that going on, and then you're also trying to learn how to provide for yourself a little bit. I know for myself, living in Spokane, I was kind of spoiled living at home, and mom and dad take care of you. I think it's the same for most players, where the billets, mom and dad are taking care of you. And then you transition to university life, where you're cooking for yourself, you're going to the store on a regular basis to get groceries and trying to eat healthy and live right. So you have all those different aspects, of real life that kind of come on you right away suddenly. And I think it's a great time for players and individuals to grow up really fast. And that was definitely the case for me.
And that growing up definitely helped you, because at the end of your U Sports career, you're named the MVP of all U Sports. You're the top forward, you're the top point scorer. You have options. You now have a degree too. So what went into your decision to choose to go to Hungary to play in the EBLE, which is now just called the Ice HL, which stands for Ice Hockey League? They went really unique on that one. To head over there, because you ended up being in the EBLE for 3 seasons before transitioning to the Swedish Hockey League.
Yeah, I mean, that's another crossroads there. A bunch of guys go through where you're done with your university career. Hopefully, you have a degree, and you kind of have to decide if you want to enter the real world, I like to say, and get a real job, or maybe you pursue some more education. At that point in my career, I was trying to decide if I wanted to be a pharmacist, which at that point I had my undergraduate degree, but I needed to enter pharmacy school for another 4 years. So if I was going to do that, hockey would basically have been done. And to be honest, I was kind of 50-50 whether to go that way or to try and play pro somewhere. So just kind of weird to look back now and think, I could have stopped playing hockey, whereas now here I am playing in the NHL. So it's just crazy how those little decisions along the way can add up. And so, yeah, for me, that decision was just based on the fact that I had a ton of success at the U of A. Had a ton of love for hockey, a lot of drive left, and wanted to just see, where this European career could take me. Maybe I could stake out a little bit of a career over there and make some decent money and just enjoy a couple of different cultures, getting to see the world a little bit. And I think there's a lot to be said about those opportunities for guys coming out of U Sports.
And you did. You got to play in 3 different countries. You were the MVP of the EBLE in 2014. And then in 2015, you followed it up with the MVP in the SHL. And then you signed with the Carolina Hurricanes. And the next season, you made your first ever appearance in the NHL at 29 years old. And that's something I'd like to talk to you about. Most guys are breaking into the NHL at 19 to 23. And for yourself at 29, having not only played in the Western Hockey League till 20, then doing a full degree, and then spending 4 years overseas. What was it like sitting in your car the day before you walked into the rink for the first time you're ever going to play in the NHL?
Yeah, pretty overwhelming. Kind of one of those moments where it's really hard to put into words. I mean, talk about a long, convoluted journey. Just the NHL wasn't really on the radar after playing for the Chiefs. During my time at the U of A and in Austria and in Sweden, I was more focused on, carving out a bit of a European career, providing for my family over there. And then all of a sudden, I have a really good year in Sweden, super highly scouted league where NHL teams kind of got to see me, I guess, for the first time in several years. And all along this journey, I have guys that are well connected in NHL teams, scouts or managers or whatever it is, saying, just telling me you're going to be a good European player, but you can't play in the NHL. And so you have all these outside voices and extrinsic factors kind of pushing down on you, but motivating you at the same time. And to have that culminate in a moment where, I get to call my family and tell them that I'm going to play in the NHL the next day, and score a goal in my first NHL game too. I mean, talk about a one defining moment in the whole journey. That's probably it right there, where, I score the goal. I have my family there, my wife, my dad, my sister, my son, and, just one of those moments where you get back to the bench and the tears kind of flood in your eyes a little bit, and just a really special moment for myself and my family. And it's hard to put into words, but I mean, a lot of work went into it, and you just kind of trying to take it in as it comes, I guess.
And you've done that. You've established yourself in the NHL now. You're in your final year of a 3-year deal you signed back in 2018 with the Calgary Flames. And it's really found like you found your place on that Flames team. You've established yourself as a very good two-way forward that's really come in, and with a young player like Dylan Dubé and a veteran player like Milan Lucic had a very good line last season. And, looking forward to this year, what are your guys' expectations? You just brought in Jacob Markstrom and Chris Tanev. It looks like a team that can really make a push. And for yourself, who's now, what's funny is, you're 33 years old, played over 300 games in the NHL, but, there's some very young players that have been in the NHL for a long time on that team. It's a really unique mix. But what are your guys' expectations heading into next season?
Yeah, that's a good question. And for myself, I consider myself a low mileage player, but I am 33. So I'd like to say there's some road left, but at the same time, you never know how many years can be left. So I'd like to win. And that's kind of how things go, I think, in most guys' careers as they get towards closer to the end, the winning becomes most important. And I feel like with the off-season acquisitions that we've made in Markstrom, Tanev, with our younger players getting better, bigger, faster, stronger, more experienced, I think the time to win is now. And I think that Brad, our GM, has done a great job putting together a pretty strong roster, and I consider ourselves a contender. So I think for us, and at least my mentality right now, is it's time to go to work and put in the work that it's going to take to win and focus on winning, because that's what everybody wants. And I think that the time is now for the Flames to do that.
Well, Vegas owner Bill Foley last night talking about how there could be a Canadian division this year, which would be, exceptional for hockey fans. I know for you guys that might be a little much on the travel wise, heading down to Montreal a couple times a month. But with that being said, you finally, you're in your 3rd year in Calgary. I don't want to say bounce around because you've continued to move up the chain, but you've played in a lot of different markets in a lot of years. Have you been able to take part in any community initiatives with the Flames that, have been enjoyable for yourself?
Yeah, we do a great job. Our PR staff in Calgary does a great job putting us in great situations to support the Calgary community. Obviously, it's great to give back to the community in Calgary. There's some great hockey fans in that city and some great people in need as well. I know we spend a lot of time at the Children's Hospital. We go there once or twice a year and play some ball hockey with some of the sick or ill kids that are there. That's always a great day to see them. And I know they're in pretty tough situations, so it's fun just to put a smile on their face. A couple other things we do. I've spent a little bit of time at WinSport with some of the young hockey players there, and whether it's on the ice with them or even just up in the conference rooms talking to them. And like we've talked about this whole time, my story is pretty unique. There's a lot of great messages in there for young players. The hockey world seems to be pretty, I don't know, stuck or in the same regimen that you have to play a certain way and go in a certain route to get to the NHL. And my story is kind of the antithesis of that. So it's good for young players to see that there's different routes to get to the NHL. Perseverance, sticking with it, hard work, never quitting. All these great messages are for kids, and I love sharing it with the young hockey players in Calgary.
It is a great message. It goes back to Malcolm Gladwell's book, Outliers. That's certainly what you are.
Totally.
You defied the expectations, but you earned everything you got. That's for sure. Derek, thank you so much for taking time out of your day today. I hope you enjoy the rest of the time that you're able to spend with your family back in Spokane, and you're ready to go once the season starts next year.
Yeah, thanks, Zach. Thanks for having me.